Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite shoes of all time. It's a shoe that was released in 2022, and I've now had 3 pairs of it. It's the Hoka Mach 5. I'm going to go over my likes of the shoe and my dislikes, but there's not going to be many because it is definitely one of my favorite shoes of all time. And yeah, today I just want to talk about it a little bit. But before I do that, I have a 22K long run to do here in the post snowstorm Toronto. So just doing what I can. And yeah, let's get it done. There's 5K in about 28 minutes. It's kind of hard to run with any form of speed when this is what the good sidewalks look like. I'd say my biggest problem for today is that on top of the snow, which is already kind of annoying, it's actually really cold. I think it said minus 12 Celsius. So yeah, it's cold, and normally I'm going quite a bit faster than this, but obviously because of the snow, I can't. I'm getting really cold, and I'm only like 7K in. My face is already frozen, and my hands are freezing, so just about at 11K now. I'm gonna start to speed up a little bit because I'm getting really cold. Hopefully if I speed up, I'll warm up a little bit, but it's difficult when the roads are so slippery and snowy and icy, and it just makes it really hard. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna take this gel now because I'm halfway. I think it's kind of frozen, but oh, for sure, I'm chewing on it. Man, I was hoping to get more B-roll, but it is getting too cold here. My hands are freezing, so I think I'm gonna put the GoPro in my pocket so I can actually keep my hands warm. The GoPro was in my pocket, and of course it fell out right into the one part of the road that was completely concrete. It really would have sucked if I broke this camera because I literally use it for everything. But yeah, I can see a nice little chip at the top right corner, but everything else still seems to be functioning, so that's good. There it is. 22K, 2 hours, 1 minute, 5:32 a kilometer. But man, that felt like a way bigger effort than what the splits show. It's cold, man.
So for this video, I want to talk about one of my favorite shoes of all time, and that is the Hoka Mach 5. It was released in I think it was released in the spring of 2022, but I first got a pair in the summer of 2022, and since then, it's been one of my favorite shoes that I've ever had, that I've ever run in, and I've had 3 pairs now over the years, and it still continues to be one of my favorite shoes. I know obviously it's discontinued now, so there's probably pretty much no way to get a hold of a pair of it, but I was fortunate enough to get a pair not that long ago that has now kind of come back into the rotation for the, well, it will be for the final time, because obviously there's no way to get another pair of these shoes or a new pair of these shoes. This will be the final one that I have of the shoe, but so far I'm just really enjoying it. I love running in this shoe. Now having it back in the rotation, it really reminds me how much I love this shoe. So yeah, kind of my story with the Hoka Mach 5 was that I remember when it was released, I think it was around the spring or early summer of 2022. I remember seeing all these people talking about it, loving it, and giving it amazing reviews, and it wasn't released in Canada right away. It was released in the US, I want to say maybe about a month or 2 before it was released in Canada, and I wanted a pair really, really badly because it was at the time where I wasn't really into super shoes. I really started heavily getting into running during the summer of 2020, and this was the summer of 2022. I still wasn't wearing super shoes. I still was in the mindset of wanting a shoe that kind of did everything. And a lot of people were saying that the Hoka Mach 5 was that shoe, so I really wanted a pair. So I ended up going to an American website and buying it off of an American website and getting the shoe probably about a month before it was released in Canada. And this was the shoe that I got, this classic kind of orange and blue colorway that I still look at now and I think is just really nice. At the time I didn't really like it, but now looking back, I guess it gives me a lot of nostalgia. And I look at it now and it just really reminds me of that summer, because that was the summer that I really started running extremely extremely consistently. Like I said, I started in the summer of 2020, but I really consistently started running in the spring, or I guess it was late spring, early summer of 2022. Since the summer of 2022, I have not missed a week of running ever. Like, I obviously haven't run every day, but I've at least run once every single week since then. Yeah, I guess that's kind of why I look at that kind of era to me, like that kind of summer of 2022 as like really where I really started just like being extremely consistent with running and really kind of truly loving running, even though I did before that, but just it was really that time when I really started getting into it. And this was a shoe that I was wearing for most of that, and for me it's always been a shoe that I've just relied on. It can do everything, and I got it specifically to race a half marathon in. I ended up not racing the half marathon in it because I ended up getting the Vaporfly anyway, but I initially bought it to train with all summer and then run my half marathon in the fall. I want to talk about some of the pros and cons with the shoe. Obviously, I don't have many cons with it. I'm going to talk mostly positively about the shoe, but before that, I'll show this was the first pair I had. This was the second pair that I had, and then this is now the current pair that I'm on. I gotta say my favorite one is probably this one. The color of this one is just, I think it's beautiful. The white with the gold Hoka, it just looks so nice. And now I wear it as just like a casual shoe just because I think it just looks so nice. Plus it's still super comfortable. The one that I'm currently wearing, this one, I don't know if I love it that much. I don't know if I'd wear, I wouldn't wear it as a shoe out just because it's like a little bit aggressive in some of the colors, but it's not terrible. This one isn't necessarily that nice, but I just think that it just reminds me so much of that summer and just brings back such positive memories for me when it comes to running. Yeah, I got this shoe in the summer of 2022. I got this one then in the fall of 2023. And then I got this one now in the winter of 2025. So I feel like it's like a really nice even spread of these shoes, like very consistently every year roughly I come back to it for a training block just because of how much I like it. I guess in a way it's kind of sad this will be the last one that I ever have. I'm okay with that, but it is kind of sad in a sense, you know. When you find a shoe that you really like and you buy a bunch of them and then you realize they're discontinued, it is what it is. You got to just enjoy them for what they are, you know. So now I'll talk about the positives about the shoe. I guess it's not really a shoe review because I'm realizing now as I'm making this video that there is no way for you to get this shoe. I think it'd be pretty difficult to get this shoe now, so me, you know, talking about it as if it's a review that you can go and buy doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's more going to be me just talking about how much I like this shoe, and I guess I'll give the reasons as to why I like the shoe and then also the reasons as to why I don't like the shoe. But like I said, I'll just say it quickly now. The only reason I don't like this shoe is the grip. The bottom grip is not that great, and if you're running in anything that's not like a super flat road, it's not going to do you any favors. I know that it's obviously advertised as a road running shoe, so obviously you shouldn't be using it for anything else, but if the ground isn't in any way wet, whether it's a bit rainy or like a little bit snowy like we're dealing with here in Toronto now, or just any form of like dirt, it's just not going to do a very good job and you're going to slip. That's really the only negative I have to say about it, but it's also easily countered just because obviously it's not a shoe that's advertised to do anything more than just run on the flat road or sidewalk, you know. I'll talk about the positives of the shoe, and I think it's one thing that isn't just necessarily going to connect to this shoe. I think it's one thing that kind of connects to many shoes, and especially when I'm looking for a daily trainer, what I'm looking for in a shoe. And I guess when it comes to that, the category of like a daily trainer, it will also talk about what I like about this shoe and why I think it is probably one of the best daily trainers ever made. At least for me, it's probably one that I would say is my favorite daily trainer ever. So to start with the positives about the shoe is extremely light. It has a really good lockdown. Even without a runner's knot, it's amazing. But if you add a runner's knot, it makes it even better. Typically, I won't do a runner's knot if I'm just going on like a casual run. I will do a runner's knot if I'm doing a speed workout in the shoe, which then ties me to my next point. You can do recovery runs in the shoe. It feels great. That foam there, that's the 2-layered foam. This is like the really mushy foam. This is the firmer foam. The mushy foam feels great when you're going at easy paces. It really feels it. It's crazy how this shoe at an easy pace can feel mushy, yet then when you run at a fast pace, it seems to firm up and feel great. And because of this double layer foam here, when you start going fast, this firmer foam almost acts as like a plate, so it kind of starts to propel you forward a lot more. So yeah, that foam just seems to be doing so much. It's a foam that allows for you to run slow, easy paces, but then also pick it up and help you and assist you in both those paces, which is something super unique. I still to this day have not really run in a shoe that I feel like can truly do that. That's not to say I don't love the shoes I'm running in now. Many of them I really like, but this shoe just does it in such a special way that I have not seen or felt in another shoe. I think overall it's just a shoe that over the years has like truly never let me down. There are many shoes that I've run in where like you just run in them and you're like, that shoe just didn't feel good. I feel like it kind of held me back, or it did something to my form that I just didn't like, or whatever that might be. There are many shoes that have done that to me in the past, and this is a shoe that I've never put on and regretted wearing. I can use it for literally anything. The other day I wore this shoe in a snowstorm, and it wasn't perfect because the ground, you know, it's a little bit slippery, but it still did the job. And I think when it comes to you know, why people like a certain shoe, it is really subjective, and I don't think that you necessarily can like say exactly why a certain shoe might be your favorite shoe. I hope over the years it changes, obviously, because I hope that my favorite shoe didn't come out in 2022 and they don't make anything else that I like more. But as of now, I would say that this is definitely my favorite shoe of all time, and I don't think it's one of those examples where, you know, you look back on a shoe and think that was such a great shoe, and you rented it again and you're like, oh, it wasn't actually that great. I'm still running in the shoe. This is still a pretty new version of the shoe, and it still feels as good as ever, and it still just does everything that I want it to do. You know, like I was just saying, when it comes to saying exactly why a shoe might be your favorite shoe, I don't necessarily think there's always these insane detailed reasons for that. It's just, it feels good. Everybody obviously has like a different foot, a different stride, and just different forms when it comes to running. So obviously different shoes are going to work well for different people. The Hoka Mach 5 is just a shoe that has just worked for me really well. You know, I have kind of a wider forefoot, and it seems to spread out here. I have a narrower kind of midfoot, and it narrows out in the midfoot. It just feels like a shoe that was just meant for me. It's a shoe that I will, you know, always look back on and still to this day run in happily. And yeah, that's why I wanted to make a video on the shoe. It's just a shoe that I consistently come back to over the years, and you know, they're new pairs of the shoe. It still feels great. All the shoes feel consistently the same. I enjoy every run in the shoe. I do pretty much every type of run in the shoe, and this will be the last training block that happens in, but I am, you know, I'm okay with that, and I'm just happy to have experienced the shoe that I like this much. But yeah, with all that being said, that's going to do it for this video. I'm realizing now that doing a review on a shoe like this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think it's more just me talking about my favorite shoe of all time as opposed to actually reviewing it. Hopefully in time that will change. Obviously I want that to change because I want to have a shoe that I like even more than this shoe. I'm currently training to run a 1 hour 15-minute half marathon, a sub 17-minute 5K, and a sub 35-minute 10K. So if you want to watch content on that and me training, and obviously not just sitting in a desk talking about my favorite shoe, check out my channel because I have videos of that all over my channel. Yeah, with all that being said though, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.